Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan, and today I'm going to be talking about the victims of terrorist attacks and a problem that they tend to face. Starting off, I'll say one of the biggest terrorist attacks in our society is by far the September 11th, 2001 attack on the World Trade Center buildings in New York City. Both the North Tower and South Tower were hit with airplanes that day, and unfortunately, both towers ended up collapsing, and it killed over 3,000 people. Victims of the attack range anywhere from first responders to people who were working in the buildings to someone that was too close to the building, um, looking at the other one, and then you see it just, they see it collapse, and then they're unfortunately um, just crushed by all the debris and rubble. But with hearing that over 3,000 people have died, and then someone's like, oh, that's 3,000 victims of the crime, and that's not necessarily the case. There's well more than 3,000 victims from that day. The victims can range anywhere from someone who was on the sidewalk that was covered in the dust, anywhere from someone that was in the airport that saw the terrorist, anyone that got a phone call from someone that was on the plane, to saying, there's been a hijacking. I'm probably not going to come home. All those people can be considered victims. And there was just a tragic day. I could not imagine getting a phone call like that or something, especially back then when the alarm for a terrorist attack wasn't really that high as it is now. Now we have all these different procedures and travel restrictions and got to have the enhanced license, but all these restrictions we have now come from this September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack. And as unfortunate as it is, there has been more terrorist attacks in the U.S. Since 9/11, but and many victims involved. But with a lot of those occurring, we have numerous services here offered in the United States for the victims. The Department of Justice Office of Victims of Crime, they have a coping with terrorism handbook, and it goes over the fear, the anxiety, what the victim is first feeling when it happens. It relives them through the traumatic event. It doesn't sound like a good way to help them cope, but the handbook has gotten a lot of good feedback from victims, and that it is very helpful for them. The victim-centered training. We have, well, the Office of Victims of Crime has specifically trained these people to help the victims of the terrorist attacks. So they have dedicated their time and their energy to learning ways of how to deal with someone who is the victim of trauma of one of these terrorist attacks. There was a divide there where it was just a victim of a traumatic event, and then everyone was like, no, terrorist attack. You need to do victim of terrorist attack. A terrorist attack is a traumatic event, but there needs to be separate guidelines for each one. So came with that is some legislation called the Victims of Crime Act in 1984, which gave international terrorism victim expense to people in the United States. Victims and family members of the terrorist attacks need plenty. There's plenty of cost after them, anywhere from funeral services to medical treatment, or short-term lodging, or emergency transportation, or anything like that. And what's fortunate about the U.S. is they don't have these other services in every other country. So it's great that we have that. Thank you.